Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome to Jersey City Pilates. For today's class, you just need a yoga block or a thick book. And we're going to focus on pelvic stability and we're going to start in all fours. Alright, so to start, you're just going to find yourself in a nice tabletop position here. And just kind of let your body relax and see where it wants to go. Like naturally, my body kind of wants to fall towards the floor. Maybe your back wants to arch. Either way, find the connection and the length through the low back, the drawing in of your abdominals gently. The ribs and hips are connected to one another in the front. And your tailbone and the crown of your head are moving away from each other in opposition. From here, curl the tailbone under, draw the hip bones closer up towards the ribs and round your spine up towards the ceiling. Press the floor away through your hands. And then just take a second here, arch a little bit over to the left side, a little side bend, and then come back to the center in your arch, and then a little side bend over to the right, and then back to the center, and then uncurl your body starting at the pelvis. So widen the sitting bones, find length through the front of your body, and then lengthen the collarbone through your arms. And then here you're going to do another little side bend over to the left, and then to the center, and then over to the right. Feel the right hip and shoulder draw towards one another. You're still in this gentle arch. And then curl the tailbone under, round the spine up towards the ceiling again. Really press your feet and shins and hands into the floor. And then again, one side bend to the left. And then to the right. And then neutral, and then find that articulation, find the length and lift through the chest, and then another little side bend over to the left, and then over to the right. And then we're just going to take two normal cat-cows here, curl the tailbone under, round the spine up towards the ceiling, drop the head, and then widen the sitting bones, lengthen the hips away from the ribs, and find the lift through your chest. One more time, round the spine up. And then uncurl. And then find your long neutral position here. Let your chest drip down towards the floor, keeping a neutral pelvis. Shoulder blades come in towards your spine and then press the floor away. And then again, let yourself sink down. Head stays nice and long and then press up. Think about reaching your head still towards the door like you're a turtle. A little bit. The door. I have a door in front of me. Whatever is in front of you. Maybe it's your couch or your bed. Two more. Just let the shoulder blades slide in and then press up. One more. And up. Good. And then from here, we're going to do that wag the tail motion again. So you're going to slide your left hip up towards your left shoulder blade and then look over your left shoulder. Feel the stretch through that right side, and then keep reaching long through the left side to bring yourself to neutral, and then reach through the right. So even though you are shortening the distance between your rib and your hip on the left side only, you're still trying to think about having length. So you're not just crunching. You're doing a nice supported side bend, and then back to the center, and over to the right. One more time. You can reach back with the lengthening side sitting bone if that helps. And last one. Good. And then from here, bring your knees nice and wide and sit back into a nice child's pose. Press your hands into the floor. And then let your chest just relax and take a big inhale. Feel your ribs expand wide to the side and up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, try to relax a little bit more into the floor. And again, breathing into your back and the sides of your ribs. And exhale. One more time. Good. And then come all the way up, and you're going to flip over onto your back. We're just going to be here briefly. You can take the block, if you'd like, and place it in between your thighs. Make sure that it's not right at your knees and not all the way down at your pelvis. You want a little bit of space on either side if you can. And then have your head nice and flat on the ground. Take your arms up towards the ceiling, externally rotate the arms, make the little cactus arms, and then think of just reaching wide through the collarbones, and then you're gonna flip your hands towards the floor, trying to keep as open as you can. If your hands don't reach like mine, that's fine. You're just gonna think about that openness as you then slide your arms down by your side. Just trying to keep openness here. Good. And then give your block a little squeeze, just so that you're holding onto it with a little bit of force, but think inner thighs, pelvic floor lifts as you squeeze. Take a big inhale here. Exhale, squeeze the block a little bit more. Feel everything from the center lift. The abdominals gently engage. And then release on your inhale. Exhale. Give a little squeeze. Feel the lift. And then inhale. Release. Exhale, squeeze. The ribs are wrapping as well. Last one, inhale, release. Exhale. Give it a little squeeze. Good. From here, just keep a slight squeeze so the pelvic floor is lifted, it's not relaxed. And then you're just gonna curl the tailbone under on your exhale and draw the hips towards your ribs, gently pressing the low back into the floor. Hips stay on the ground though. And then inhale, release to neutral. And then exhale, draw the ribs towards the hips, the abdominals gently descend towards the floor, and release. If it's helpful, you can bring your fingers to your ribs and your hips and just feel the distance close. And release. 2 more. And release. Last one. Good. And then from here, you're just going to think about pouring water towards your pubic bone, and you're going to increase the distance between your ribs and your hips, and then come back to neutral. So think about tipping your pelvis away from you, increasing that slight arch in the low back. And then release. 2 more. Good. Finding a little bit of extra space or movement, maybe through the sacrum, the tailbone that you didn't have 5 minutes ago. And then from here, you're going to curl the tailbone under, shorten the distance. And then on your inhale, you're going to roll into that slight arch. And then exhale, come back in. Inhale, open. Make sure your back ribs are staying connected to the floor. And then back into that tilt. 1 more time. Inhale to your arch. Exhale, back in. Good. Settle yourself in a nice neutral pelvis. Give the block a little squeeze. And then you're going to think, if you have cups or sandbags, whatever you want on each hip, you're going to think about pouring a little bit more of that into your right hip. So your left hip feels like it's lifting. If you lift your head, you can see an actual slight tilt in your pelvis. And then you're going to come back to neutral and go over to the left side. So you're thinking about rocking the pelvis from east to west now. Legs stay still, keep holding onto that block. Very small movement here, but try and use your breath and abs to help mobilize you. Last one to the left. Good, settle in neutral, and then you're gonna curl the tailbone under, bring that weight towards your belly button, and then over towards the right, and we're doing a little circle, or pelvic clock is just another name for this, over towards the left, and back to the belly button. 1 more time over to the right, down towards the pubic bone, over towards the left, and back in. This is super tiny. Now we're going to go to the left twice, and pubic bone, and right hip, belly button, and last time left, pubic bone, right hip, belly button. And then just settle yourself in a nice neutral pelvis. Take that block out from in between your knees. And you're going to roll over onto your side and press yourself back up into all fours. So before we move on with the block, we're going to take a moment here Just tuck the tailbone under and then release. And just notice if you can maybe write your name with your pelvis. If you have a little bit more mobility or freedom, writing your name is surprisingly difficult, especially if you have a long name. Just moving the pelvis, keeping everything else nice and still. All right, once you've had your fun with that, you're gonna extend your right leg back behind you, float your right leg up, and then tap that leg down, and then lengthen it up. Keeping your hips nice and square, checking in on yourself. You can look down for a moment, but then try to return your head to be in line with your spine. And lift. 3 more. 2. And last one. Bring that knee underneath you for just a second. You're going to extend your right arm long, then left arm long, leg to opposites. And then float the right leg, left arm. And then from here, you're going to take a big inhale. And then on your exhale, round your spine, bring your knee towards your nose, elbow bends in, and extend. Doesn't matter if your knee and your elbow reach, but think about initiating the rounding of your spine from your pelvis. So the leg is dragging in because of the curl under, the dragging of the hips up towards the ribs. 2 more. Last one. This class will also be slightly more lower body focused. Pause here. You're going to tap it down and then lift it up. Here we're keeping the pelvis nice and stable, not letting that right hip drop. Soft bend in your right elbow so you're not hyperextending. For 3, 2, and last one. Lower the left hand down. Keep the right leg lifted. Kickstand your left leg gently out towards the side. So you're slightly internally rotated through the left leg now, and that left foot is out towards the side away from your body. Pick the right hand up and open yourself up into a little modified side plank here. And then you're going to reach the arm overhead and circle it back around, square the hips off. And then open back up. So you're just thinking about moving the pelvis around the left femur, coming back to square. That right leg keeps reaching long. And circle the arm around, back down. 2 more. So you're literally just opening the pelvis like a book. Last one. This class also has a decent amount of balance in it, if you hadn't noticed that was where we were going. And then bring the left leg back parallel. And then tap your right foot down, but leave it long. Reach the right arm out in front of you. And you're going to try to float the right arm, right leg on the same side up. And just hold or play with it here for 10, 9. Try to keep those hips nice and square. 5, 4, 3, 2. And last one, lower the right arm and right leg. You can sit back to child's pose, round your spine if you need, whatever feels good for a second. And then come back into your all fours again. Extend your left leg long here. Float that leg up. Find the reach from the underside of that hip, lengthening through the hip flexor. Lifting from the hamstring and lower glute for 6, 5, 4, 3. Check in on your hips. 2, and last one. And then you're going to lower that leg down and you're going to extend the right arm long this time. And you're going to float the arm and leg up and then utilize the tuck under of the tailbone, the rounding of the low back to help bring that leg in. And the arm will follow. 5 more. 4, 3, 2 more. Watch the left elbow is softly bent. Last one. Extend it long, tap it down, and lift for 8. Again, keeping that pelvis nice and square. Make sure your weight isn't all the way over to that right side. You're staying pretty equal. 4 more. 3. 2, think about lifting from the upper back of the leg rather than the foot. Last one. Keep your leg long, plant your right foot. Kickstand your right leg out a little. Slight internal rotation here. And then you're gonna open up, keep reaching through the toes. Lift the left arm into the air now. Good, try to have the pelvis open so that it's perpendicular to the floor, and then circle that arm around and find yourself nice and squared. And then again, open up and circle the arm around. And open, sorry, my back is towards you. And around. 3 more. Going at your own pace, but really thinking about rotating around now the right femur. 2. Maybe one side you're seeing is a little bit more wobbly than the other. Last one. And circle around. Square your right leg off. Soft bend in that right arm. Tap the left toes to the floor. Reach the left arm out in front of you. Take a big inhale, find the connection of your abdominals, lengthen from the crown of your head away from your toe, and then lift the left arm, left leg, and hold for 10. 9, you can play with it, bring your arm in and then extend it out for 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Bring your hands down, and then now we're gonna sit back into a child's pose. Good, and then from here, take your block and place it on the left side of your mat. And then you're just gonna come to stand on your mat. First, we're gonna do just a few roll downs to get our spine moving a little bit more, and then we'll move on to using the block, and we'll be standing for a few minutes. So first, just reach your arms up towards the ceiling, find a little arch in your low back, and then find the connection between the ribs and the hips. Soften the knees, and then let your hands fall down. Your head will nod. Keeping the chin gently tucked, you're gonna reach your arms, let them slide down the front of your legs, and then round all the way over your legs like a little rag doll here. Let your knees be nice and soft. And then you're just gonna peel yourself up again, one vertebrae at a time. Arms can stay long by your side. This time, lengthen up towards standing tall. Last time, nod your chin, roll all the way down. And then just relax here for a second. Shake your head yes and shake your head no. Grab opposite arm, opposite elbow. Again, knees are nice and soft. And you're just going to gently rock back and forth from one side to the other. Keep reaching the sitting bones back behind you. One more time to each side, to the left, last one to the right. Pause in the center, let your arms be nice and heavy, and then take your time to very slowly round all the way up. One vertebrae at a time, stack your head on top of your spine, perfect. And then from here, grab your block. Change mine so you can see. And if you are near a mirror or a window where you can see your reflection, that's great. If you want to turn your camera on so you can see yourself, obviously that's also fine. But when you're ready, stand up onto the block. Left foot is on the block to start, and then you're going to bring your right leg just in line with your left so that it's hovering in the air. And then take your hands and put them on your hips. Like, find the very top of your hip bones. If you're wearing high-waisted yoga pants, it's probably the top of your pants. And then let your thumbs be in the back, but let your fingertips in the front sort of draw towards one another to touch. So your thumbs are still on your hips, but your fingers, you can at least see that they're in the same plane, regardless of whether or not they're touching. So from here, you're starting in a nice square, even pelvis. Your hips are neutral. And you're just gonna drop your right hip towards the ground. And you may see that your left hip wants to come out to the side. You may feel like pressure in the outside of your hip. We don't want that. So tuck that side under and feel the engagement through the back of your leg. So you're just dipping that right hip down a little. Again, if you're looking in a mirror, this is a lot easier. And then pull it back up so you're neutral. And then go a little bit higher up so that you've hiked that hip. You can also feel this through your back. Find your neutral and then go down without letting that hip slide out to the side. And then find your neutral, find your hike. And neutral and down. And even though a hip hike or letting your hip fall down is not ideal, being able to find that just through moving the pelvis is a great skill. It gives you good control. And also you may now feel and know like, oh shit, my hip is hiked and I'm not even. One more time, lift it up and up and square. And then bend your left leg, now keeping your hips square. Tap your right leg to the ground and then lift up. And then tap that leg to the ground and lift. And again, keeping your hips nice and square, not pushing that left side out. Knee is right over your toes and tap it down and lift. It's hard. My hip wants to go all the way out, like my femur wants to go out of where it's supposed to be. 2 more. And last one. And then hold at the top. Bring your right foot out so that your hip distance are a little bit wider than hip distance. And you're just gonna think about sending your hips straight back behind you and then press yourself all the way up. So your left leg is staying bent. You can do whatever you want with your hands. This is just sort of what I do all the time naturally. I don't know why. A little bit more weight is in that left leg. We're gonna do 4 more just like this with both feet on the ground. 3, 2, last one. Good, and then calm down. And then you're gonna press and you're gonna lift up. And then you're gonna lower that foot, squat down, lift, and down. So the hips are staying square as you lift. And you can do this with a narrower foot positioning if that's helpful. Do what works for you. Sorry, I have one piece of hair that is attacking my face. For 4, 3, thinking about going straight up, 2, and last one, and then lower all the way down. We will trade sides. So, right foot now comes on the block. Again, find your square hip positioning. Always have a hand on that right outer hip if that's helpful. Do what works for you. We're gonna start with that hip hike and lower. So you're lowering the left hip, and then you're bringing it to neutral, and then you're hiking it up. And try, as you lower from the left side down, try not to just hike your right hip to do so. Try to find a little bit more length from the left side in the back and up. At center and up. 5 more. Right knee is a little soft, so you're not hyperextending. And down. And up. Use your toes to catch you as you need. Down. 1 more. Good. And then you are tapping your left foot down to the floor, and then you're just gonna stand up to that tall position. Tap the right or left leg down, straighten the right, and lower, and lift. Trying to go as straight up as you can, obviously within reason. Trying to push through your whole foot, not just the heel, not just the toes. Try to feel all 4 corners of that foot. Hold on to a wall also if you need, or a chair. 2, and last one. Good, and then bring your leg a little wider than hip distance or right at hip distance to start, and then send your hips straight back behind you, and then lift up, and back, and lift, for 6, 5, 4 more. And of course, if the block isn't working for you, from here on out, you can just get rid of it. 3, 2, and last one. Good, squat down, and then come to that neutral hip position with the left leg lifted. And then squat down, and lift, and down, and lift, down, and lift, really pushing through the right leg, trying to get that hamstring and glute involved as well. Think that your foot is going to go all the way through the floor as you stand. 3, 2, and last one. Good, shake that leg out as well. And then we're going to go back to the left leg. So here, again, if you want to ditch the block, do whatever works for you. You're going to bring your left foot onto the block, and then you're just going to bring your hands towards the ground, find a nice lunge here, and then lengthen yourself all the way up tall. Find whatever foot distance works for you. And then just hang out here, getting a nice stretch through the front of your hip. Think about gently tucking your tailbone under, and then lengthening and lifting from that hip flexor up through the abdominals. And you're gonna reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And then from here, you are going to send your arms back towards your side as you send your torso forward. Your leg stays on the ground. And then lift. So you're just moving through this lunge position, finding yourself in a nice long line, almost like you're gonna explode forward, and then come back up. Again, tailbone is tucked. Coming down into that long line, and lift. 2 more. And last one. And up. Good. Here you're gonna come forward, and you're gonna place your weight into your left foot, coming into sort of a reverse deadlift position or a yoga position that the name is escaping me. Bend the left leg, place the right leg back down, lift up. Coming into that lifted position, hips are square, left knee is soft, bend the knee, and find your little lunge. And back up. And back down. 2 more. Last one. Good. And then from here, you're going to come forward. And then you're going to tap that right leg down and lift. You can bring your hands in front of you. You can hold onto a wall, whatever works. Left leg is nice and bent. Hips are square for 4. 3. Again, lifting from the back of that leg. 2. Last one. Lower the right leg down, and then just hold here. Take a nice stretch. In this lunge, we're going to do one last thing here. You're going to come forward, lengthen through that right leg, bend the knee in, extend the leg, lower down, and lift. Press and extend, lift the right leg, bend it in, feel your abdominals, draw that leg in, extend it out, giving you stability, lower, and lift. If your left butt cheek is on fire, cool, me too. And up. 2 more. Extend the leg, lower down, and lift. Last one. Coming into that little airplane, RDL. Bring that leg in, extend, lower down, and lift. And then step all the way back. You move your block out of the side. We're going to sit down for a second. Extend your right leg. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Bend that knee in, and then press your torso up tall. You can rock from one side to the other. Definitely need a little stretch here. It's a killer. Good. A little more over towards the right with that right leg. You may feel it a little bit more to the outside of the left leg. Good. And then come over onto all fours. And then round your spine up towards the ceiling. Put weight back into your heels. And then you're going to come to stand all the way up, round up, one vertebra at a time. And we will trade sides. So, block to the right side of your mat. Right foot on the block. You can come down into a little lunge here if that helps you find your stability to start, and then move yourself up into a standing lunge. Lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Place that weight in that right foot. Again, your hips are squared here. Tailbone is gently tucked under, but you're lifted through the torso. Sweep your arms by your side. Find your nice long line. Feel the engagement through the triceps as well as you extend those arms, and then come all the way up. And then reach forward. The bend in that right knee isn't really changing. And then come down to a long line and lift. And down and lift. 2 more. And last one, lift up. Good. And then from here, you're going to come into your RDL airplane. And then release the leg back down and lift up. Warrior 3. That's the one. Yoga has so many poses and so many names. I can't keep them all straight, but it's great. And then forward and lower down. As you move, you're still checking in with those hips. You're keeping them nice and square. And back down. 2 more. Oop, and down. Last one. And down. And then we're going to come up and we're going to pause. Hold on to something if you need. I'm going to bring my arms in front of me, tap down with the left leg, and reach for 8. 7, hips are square. 5. 4. Shoulders are relaxed. 3. 2. Last one. Lower that leg down. Find your stretch here. Rebend that right knee, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. We're going to add in that bend and straighten with that left leg. So find your position, your warrior 3. Bend that knee in, extend, hips stay square, bend the knee, and lift up. And then coming forward, bend the knee in, and extend, lower down, and lift. Again, tailbone tucks under, bend in, and extend. We have 3 more. And then we get a little stretch on the right side. Lift. And extend. Bend that right knee. And down. Last one. And bend. Lift. And then step back. Move your block all the way off to the side. We are done with it for the time being. And then now extend that left leg long, cross the right ankle, bring it in, and then press yourself up into that stretch. Think about reaching the tailbone long into the floor. And you can either stay still or you can rock back and forth from one side to the other. Take a big inhale. And exhale. Good. 1 more breath in. And extend, exhale. And then from here, you're going to come onto your backs. So get down to the floor, nice and gently. A little bit more stability things here. You're gonna bring your arms down by your side to start. Bring your right leg up into tabletop. Inhale. Bring your left leg to meet it. From here, keeping your hips nice and square, arms on the floor, you're just going to tap your right leg towards the floor. And then exhale, bring it up. Alternating sides. Keeping that weight transfer from the right hip to the left hip minimal. You're in a nice neutral pelvis. Knees are generally over hips. If you have them in a little bit more, a little closer to you, that's fine. Do what works for you where you're not doming your abdominals and puffing them up towards the ceiling as you lower that leg away. So if you start from here and you only move to here, totally fine. And up. One more time to each side. And last one. Good, and then bring your right and left arm both up towards the ceiling. And you're gonna extend your right arm, left leg. And then bend and resist to come back to the center. So your arms are starting right overneath your over your shoulders. And then pausing right above your shoulder again. So reaching back, your back ribs stay connected to the mat. You're not worrying about how low your leg is going. You're just thinking about opening up from the back of the leg and being supported from the fingertips all the way to the toes across your body. Again, bring your knees in a little more. If you're feeling like you need the additional support today, maybe you didn't earlier, but now everything is tired and you do. One more time to each side. And last one. Good, bring everything in, give yourself a little hug. And then you're gonna place your right leg on the ground and you're gonna bring your left leg to tabletop. Arms can come back by your side and you're just gonna let your right leg fall out to the side. Try to keep that knee right on the left side, right over your hip. Let that right leg come up. Feel what happens in your pelvis. Did you start to hike a hip? What's going on? And then resist to bring that right leg just back up. Knee to the ceiling. So nothing is happening on this left leg. But even though we're just doing this little open and close motion, on the right side, we're making it way more challenging by taking out the stability of that left leg. Feel the inner thigh draw in towards the center, lift of the pelvic floor to bring that leg in. You can bring a hand to your abdominals as well, if that is helpful. 3 more. 2. And just check in, your foot should be in line with your knee in line with your hip. Last one. And then take an inhale. On your exhale, float your right leg up to meet your left. Right knee right over the leg, float your left leg down. Make sure you have room on your left side to actually move your leg. Right knee over hip, left leg is just gonna fall supported out to the left side. Right leg, right side doesn't move. The weight is still even in the hips. Draw that left leg back to the center. And release it out. And back in. And out. And in. 6 more. Again, check in, make sure your foot hasn't started coming in or going out. You don't want that right leg internally or externally rotated, just neutral. 3 more. 2. And last one. Good. Lower that right leg down. And then from here, find yourself in a nice neutral position. Your feet are somewhat close to your glutes, arms by your sides. Take a big inhale. On your exhale, tuck the tailbone under. This time, press your feet into the floor and then peel yourself up off of the mat. Find yourself in a nice supported bridge. Think about your feet simultaneously reaching through the floor and a little bit back towards you, firing off the backs of your legs. Glutes as well, and then tuck the tailbone under, melt your sternum, melt the middle back, all the way down, tuck the tailbone under, lift through the pubic bone, hips towards your ribs, and then release all the way down. Good. If you'd like, you can place the block in between your knees here. Mine is far away, so I'm gonna forgo that. And then again, tuck the tailbone under, pour that water or sand into the belly button, peel yourself off the mat. Think about squeezing the block even if you don't have it. Pelvic floor is lifted, inner thighs engaged. Whole body exercise here. Peel yourself back down. And release. Tuck that tailbone under one more time, up into this bridge. Good. Pause here. You're going to drop the right hip, lift the left, and then bring it to the center. Drop the left and center. Think that your spine is still reaching long towards the wall away from you. You're just rotating your pelvis around. One more time to each side. Last one. Square your hips off. Tuck the tailbone under a little bit more, and then really melt yourself down nice and slowly. Bring the knees in towards your chest and gently rock back and forth from one side to the other. And then roll over onto your right side and then all the way over onto your stomach. And we're going to end with a little extension and some push-ups because it's Saturday. Why not? All right. Have your hands near your shoulders. Tip of your nose is gently grazing the mat. Or if you want to put your cheek all the way down to start, your choice. From here, just check in with your pelvis and your ribs, see what wants to happen. My ribs want to flare and press in, and my hips want to lift away. My hip bones don't even feel like they're touching the mat at all at the moment. So you're going to tuck the tailbone under, find the lift of your abdominals. Try to relax those thighs. You can bring your legs a little wide if you need. Tuck the tailbone under, find the press of the hip bones and the pubic bone into the floor. Abs gently feel like they're lifting away. And then you're going to draw your ribs in, which will sort of naturally happen from that. From here, you're going to press into the floor, peel yourself off one vertebrae at a time into a gentle bit of extension. And then think about lengthening your nose all the way down. Maybe you have a little imaginary dot from where you picked it up before. Try to put it just a little farther away. And then again, lift up and then lower back down. Thinking about that extension coming from the mid or upper back. Mid to upper back. Not the low back. And then all the way down. 2 more. And last one. And then lower all the way down. Make a little pillow for your hands. For your forehead, rather. Forehead on the hands. Think about that pelvic positioning. Still the same. Ribs gently drawing away from the floor. Reach so long through the toes. Start to float your legs up. And then float them back down. And then float up. And down. 3 more. Up. And down. 2. Hips stay pressing into the floor. Last one. Good. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. Bring your legs together. And then think about finding yourself in one nice long line, crown of the head to the tailbone. Stay on your knees and press yourself up into a plank here on your knees. If you prefer to come onto your feet, by all means do that. Tuck the tailbone under, find length through the front of your body. Think about lowering your head and your chest at the same rate, elbows close by your side, and then press up. We're going to do 6, 5, and then we're going to combine everything we just did. 4, gently look ahead. 3, abs are wrapping, hips are staying nice and square, tailbone is gently tucked under. Last one. Good. And then from here, you're going to lower all the way down to the floor. Lift the arms, lift the head, lift the legs into your little extension, little swan here. Lower everything all the way down. Tuck your toes under if you want to come up into a full plank. Take a big inhale, and then exhale. Press yourself up in one long line. Bend the elbows. Think about a nice long plank all the way to the floor. Uncurl your toes and then lift everything up into extension. Again, you can also do this to your knees. Inhale. Exhale, press. Hips don't lag. And then lower all the way down. Lift all the way up. We're going to do this 2 more times. All the way up. All the way down, nice and slow. And lift. And lower. And up. The last one. Lift everything up. Supported through the back and the front of your body. Inhale, last exhale. Press all the way up. And then bend your knees nice and wide. And then reach your hands forward and then press the floor away, trying to send your heels back towards your sitting bones a little bit more. And then take a few inhales and exhales here. You can gently rock back and forth from one side to the other. And then walk your hands over to the left. Think about pressing the floor away, reaching long through the right arm and right sitting bone. Getting a nice side bend here. And then through center and over to the left. Press the floor away with that right hand, but then lengthen and try to reach even farther away with the left hand. You may get a little more stretch through the arm. And then come back to the center one last time. And then slowly, slowly round yourself all the way up to sit. And you are all finished. Thanks.